Hi.
Well, welcome everyone to the Kering Women in Motion Talks. My name is Angelique Jackson. I am a senior entertainment writer at Variety. And joining me here today is Hannah Einbinder. Congratulations, Hannah. This was a big week for you because you just had your very first Cannes Film Festival premiere. What was it like last night to hear that ovation and to walk into, this palace of cinema?
Yeah, totally surreal. I think there's like not a single moment of this experience that is lost on me. Jane and I were walking to the photo call earlier yesterday, and I was saying to Jane, like, do you ever get that feeling that you're in the past? Like, not in like a nostalgic way, but in a way that makes you feel a certain amount of perspective. Like in 10, 20 years, we will be looking back at this moment of us walking together and having this experience, and we're there right now, and it's interesting to maybe bring consciousness and attention to that fact that we are in the past. It's ironically something that helps me to stay in the present. I do have like a great amount of, I think, perspective in this moment, which I'm really grateful to have, and it is absolutely dazzling and surreal. I just never, in understanding like the standing ovation only via, online as a viewer, I never really envisioned that being a part of it myself. So it's really crazy. It's so cool.
What was going through your head during those, 4, 5, 6 minutes where people are just clapping for you?
Well, it's actually like perfectly, it reminds me of the art of clowning. The idea of like stretching something out for an impossible amount of time and it going through the sort of rising and falling of being like really, in the case of like clown and comedy, it's like it's funny and then you're going, oh my God, I can't believe this is going on so long. How long is this going on? And then it becomes funny again, and then it stops being funny, and then it's like so interesting. It felt like very reminiscent of that. It's sort of like the shape of that. It was so cool. It was also so cool that a lot of our crew members were there. Our production designer Brandon and our DP Eric and our costume designer Kendra and a lot of the actors from the film. So it's nice to see everyone who was, instrumental in making the film get to be appreciated. Yeah.
Well, as much as, of course, yesterday was about celebrating teenage sex and death in Camp Miasma.
Yes.
It also was the 5-year anniversary of the debut of Hacks, your first TV show.
What?
Yeah. Simultaneous events occurred.
Whoa.
Shall we get introspective about that?
Yeah, whoa. Dang. That is so crazy. Yeah, I mean, that show has given me really everything that I have. I'm so filled with gratitude for Paul, Jen, and Lucia, the creators of Hacks, who have just single-handedly made every single thing that I have ever done and will ever do possible. And so it's totally fitting that like this moment comes on an anniversary of the thing that, made this all possible for me. So that's so meaningful and so cool. Thank you for telling me that.
Of course. I mean, as you look back on that experience and those 5 years and, what you've learned from playing Ava, what is it about that you're going to remember the most?
The people, the community. Like, I think something that I feel is true on Jane's film and is certainly true of my experience of Hacks is that like, there's this like myth that you have to be like a hard ass to produce good work, and I just don't, it's just not true. It's just not true. Like you can be kind and warm and supportive and create a loving environment and it'll pay off and you can have good work and really funny work, It doesn't need to be like toxic or scary. I'm most proud of that, and I'm, proud of the people who cultivated that environment, both on the film and in Hacks. So when I look back, I'm just going to think of all the love, Yeah.
Well, let's talk about teenage sex and death a little bit more to start. You've described this film as a trans-sapphic ode to marginalized communities. What do you mean by that?
Well, my memory wipes. Men in Black synthesizer. Yeah, I mean, this film is really genuinely a large product of Jane's experience. It's kind of like a trilogy with World's Fair and I Saw the TV Glow, and it speaks a lot to their experience of coming into themselves and feeling a liberation from shame and embracing desire and embracing their identity as a queer person. And so in saying that, I'm basically recognizing that there is like an emotional through line for our filmmaker Jane in the film. And I think that a lot of people who are members of marginalized communities can find, can identify with that.
Absolutely, and tell me a little bit about working with Jane and Jillian. I mean, you go from working with Jean Smart to Gillian Anderson. You're kind of just like racking up somewhat like Infinity Stones, if we're just speaking Marvel terms.
I have a type.
You do. We'll get there in a second. But that idea of working with the two of them to capture, Jane's experience in that way and find some way of translating that into cinema.
Yeah. I mean, we just had a lot of long conversations on tree stumps, like we shot the movie in Canada. It was so beautiful in Vancouver, on Vancouver Island, just like surrounded by nature and really isolated. It was really just us in these very small towns, and we just sat around and talked a lot. And I found that our conversations were really deep and intimate and helped me to connect more deeply to Jane and also to what I found true for myself within the film, and there's certainly a lot of that. So yeah, it was, and Jillian and I just, I've been asked a lot about our chemistry and how to build it, but I really don't think that chemistry is built. I think it's instant. I think it's something that just happens organically, and that was certainly my experience there. So yeah, it was just swell.
Well, what did you relate to about Chris? Because the film is also a bit of a satire on, entertainment culture and the way in which we kind of revive and reprise all of these, this IP that we love. And Chris is tasked with, taking something that she loved in the 80s and bringing new life to it while also trying to pay homage to what came before. So yeah, what did you relate to?
I really, really related to Chris's difficulty being comfortable in her body. I think that the film largely reckons with a thing that probably most people in this room have experienced in one capacity or another, which is shame and discomfort around sex. And I definitely, in doing this film, had to examine just how true that was for me. And I think it's something that we do not talk about. And that's why I think the film is so important. It certainly was important for me, and that's my hope, that people have a similar experience. So that through line really rang true to me, and as I shot the film, it just became more and more true as I tried to dig deeper and bring more of my actual pain to it.
Yeah, what is your process of doing that? Because this film does require a lot in terms of, the different levels of comedy and drama and real depth of feeling. So how did you go about being vulnerable enough to really put all of that on screen?
I just felt safe to. Jane is an incredibly, incredibly safe person. And they just made an environment where they were vulnerable and allowed me to meet them where they were. I mean, reading the script and seeing the film, it's incredibly vulnerable. And Jane speaks openly about the fact that this is, there are a lot of really strong, truths of theirs imbued in the text. And so I think knowing that and knowing how free Jane was willing to be with their experience, it made me want to meet them there and to open myself up. And yeah, it's a very cathartic experience, you know.
Tell me about the experience with Jillian, that having someone who is so versed in this business and has played so many different types of roles, has also been that person that we've all, you know, been obsessed with, much as Chris is obsessed with Billy as the final girl from the films that she grew up loving. What was it about her that you learned that you're going to take to your next project?
Oh my gosh, so much. Jillian has such an incredibly meticulous approach to the work. She's incredibly disciplined, and you know, her physical choreography and her really, really like voracious desire to understand her motivation in every moment is really, really, yeah, it was super illuminating to watch, and I definitely feel like I will take some of that with me, yeah.
Do the physical choreography of it all, bless you. Jane also shouted out your intimacy coordinator yesterday at the premiere. Tell me a little bit about the importance of having that fourth person, if you will, in the conversation as you plotted out a film like this one.
Yeah, our intimacy coordinator, Aaron, was really instrumental in not only like making sure, you know, they were in conversation with us around how important it was to make sure that the dynamics felt respectful and that everything felt just like balanced in the right way. There's such a fine line, not only in the action, but also in the editing, right? Like editing this movie differently could have turned it into something different. Like it's so, the details are so important to nail. So we just had a lot of conversations about that. Jillian was also, you know, Jillian wrote a book called Want, which is a collection of sexual fantasies, anonymous sexual fantasies that a bunch of women submit. And so she's just been immersed in this subject matter. And so everybody really brought their own thing to it. And we just really, it was very important for us to make sure that we captured this very specific experience correctly.
I know you can't really speak to the idea of what this is going to mean in your career later, but I guess I'm sort of thinking in the same vein of when you were talking about walking with Jane earlier, because you are having a lot of these experiences so early on in your career, both, you know, through the talent that you're working with, having an intimacy coordinator on set. Can you kind of imagine, you know, the benefit of coming into an industry at this time?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I certainly think that our industry is totally imperfect, but I do feel really grateful to be able to do this work, not only with intimacy coordinators, but, you know, to collaborate mostly with other women and queer people thus far, you know. That has been really incredible. Like a lot of the writer's room of Hacks are queer people, our cast are queer, and, you know, it's just been helmed by these really incredible people who are writing to their own experience. And the same is true for Jane, and the same is true for, I did another film, Seekers of Infinite Love, with Victoria Strauss directing. And yeah, I just feel like, first and foremost, I'm after like really good work, and, you know, we tend to make that. So, so that's just a coincidence in some ways. But yeah, I think that it's a you know, it's a freakish time, but also I think the response to that freakishness is going to be radical, and I think that this is a response to that in many ways.
Yeah, it's a coincidence, but it's also very much an inevitability, because all the statistics show that, you know, when women, when people of color, when, you know, when LGBTQ people are in positions of power, our stories are richer.
Yeah.
Our crews are more diverse.
Right.
And so, yeah, you're already kind of getting a taste of that from the beginning versus the other way around.
Yeah, yeah. Like, you know, in Wonder Woman, when they're on the planet that's like all the babes, I'm like, cool, I'm on the Wonder Woman planet. Like, I feel like I look around and it's just like all my girls around. It's nice.
Well, I will say, I noticed this comment on, I believe it was, I think it may have been the trailer for Camp Miasma, but somebody noted Hannah not beating the having amazing and possibly sexual chemistry with iconic older actress allegations. I've got to say, it is amazing that it's happened twice between Jillian and Jean Smart.
It is. I wouldn't be surprised if my life was like the Truman Show. Like, I would not be surprised if I won some contest or something. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it maybe relates to your previous question. Like, I feel like really grateful to just, be around at a time where people are embracing, our stories. And I mean, I feel so unbelievably fortunate every single day. Like, it is just never lost on me. And, to work with Jean from the jump, like, she just is the most incredible human being and just embraced me right off the bat and taught me everything I know. And I'm so lucky.
What is one of those things that you learned from Jean?
Faster and funnier. If the take's feeling a little weird, faster and funnier. Just get the pace up. She's also like she's so gifted. She's like, it's so effortless with her. Like, she'll just be like telling a story. Like, she'll be like, yeah, oh no. And then this weekend we were going, action, okay. And she's right in, like, she just like pulls it right in, and she's just perfect. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like what I observe from her is just like the totality of her naturalism and her performance. It's unbelievable. She's like a gifted athlete, genuinely.
But you guys finally got her to break with the episode that we just saw.
Yes.
The Montecito episode.
Yeah.
I know you guys have another term for that episode.
Yeah. The L word.
Yes. It's the lesbian episode.
That's
I
right.
think we're allowed to say that.
Yes.
I think that's a good thing to say.
Absolutely.
Tell me about that experience of, finally seeing Jean Smart break.
Yeah, it was so fun. She, there was a joke in the episode that she just could not get through saying, and it was funny because it's like she was breaking herself. Usually when you're breaking, it's the other actor making you laugh, but she's never ever cracked at anyone doing anything, and we've all been doing such like high voltage, insane comedy around her, but she actually made herself break with. There was something she was doing with her voice on a certain word that was just sending us all into hell. Like, truly, like, every crew member around was having to, like, turn away. It was so, funny. I remember that very well.
Well, we do. We only have 2 weeks left. One of those weeks being your birthday, by the way.
yeah.
Happy early birthday, Hannah.
Thank you so much.
How will you be
31,
celebrating?
wow. So significant. Such a famous age, 31. Iconic, they call it. Yeah.
Well, to some extent, though, it is kind of apt and appropriate, and that idea of, as you were saying earlier, being a little introspective. Mm-hmm. This second half of your 20s has been pretty transformative.
Yeah.
From, starring in your first TV show, starring in your first film, having your debut stand-up comedy hour come out. When you look at going from 30 to 31, what does that mean to have accomplished all of these things?
It's crazy. It's so crazy. I feel like I've been given license to just like follow my heart and my artistic sensibility. Like, I feel like it has set me up in a place where I'm incredibly privileged to just do the things that call to me in that way. So I feel really stoked. I just try to, I feel like I don't really tend to like think of like, what's my career? Like, I don't really spend time totally thinking about that. I think I just am like, what experience can I have? Like Jane on this movie, like, we had such a deep and connected experience, and I feel like that's what I'm really after. Like, I want to connect to other artists and make something personal, you know?
Sure. I do want to ask you one more thing about Hacks, because like I said, we have the series finale coming.
Yeah.
I know it's emotional. How would you describe the tone of that final episode?
Pain.
I was like, I know you can't really say much more.
I would say pain.
So I guess prepare for pain, everyone.
Yeah, prepare for pain. Smiles, of course. Laughing, the girls are laughing, but also it's incredibly painful.
How did your goodbye go to Ava?
Oh my God, it's the long goodbye. It's like, I don't think I'll ever say goodbye. I've been wearing a lot of her clothes. I've been like a deceased relative. Like I'm just like, yeah. Like I love Ava. I used to always, before I was an actor, I used to like think of like actors being like, and I miss her and I think of her often, as being like corny. But I'm like, yep, it's real. It's real. It's so personal. I like genuinely view her as a human being who is real, and that's kind of crazy. But yeah, I love her. I think of her fondly and often, and sometimes me and Paul and Jen and Lucia will be hanging, and we'll say something and we'll be like, Ava vibes, and then we'll be like, so that's what's crazy, like still thinking in her brain, and especially from them, because they created her so they can keep, making her. They still have an email going with the title Jokes, and it was like where they first started putting jokes for Hacks like 10 years ago or something. And they still type on the same email chain, and even now they'll like update it with little lines for Ava and Deborah, which like breaks my heart. But it's really sweet too.
No, that's just giving me hope for 5 seasons in a movie. So I'm fine. They can keep writing jokes.
We were at dinner the other night and they did pitch me the movie. There is no movie, it's not happening. But for fun, they did pitch me a fun idea. But yeah, no, it's like, it's forever. It's like a never-ending flow of, love.
Well, whenever you miss her, you can always just look at your Emmy. Where is that, by the way? Where do you keep it?
So my grandfather fought in World War II, and he fought the Nazis and was in the Air Force, and he got a Purple Heart. And when he died, we found it in his bottom desk drawer in a manila envelope. So mine's in the closet. I'm like, if he was like, it's fine about that, I'm like, I think I can put mine away. I don't need to.
I think that would make him incredibly proud.
Yeah.
But I mean, even to that idea, you got on the Emmy stage, and you also used that moment to deliver just a very like incisive but powerful message. I think that's the thing that we know about you, Hannah.
Yeah.
Is that
thank you.
As talented of an actor as you are, you're also equally convicted about speaking up about social causes, about telling your truth and not being afraid of doing that. Where did you get that courage from?
It's an interesting question. I mean, I think in the case of speaking about Palestine, I follow in the footsteps of Palestinians who set the bar, who have always had to be their own advocates. And I'm really pleased to join a tradition of Palestinians and Jewish allies who are committed to, being vocal in a time where, a lot of people, I think, shy away from that. So, I follow their lead.
Sure. The reason I asked that too, though, is because, again, you're earlier on in your career, and there's always that question, that conversation, if I speak up, will I be blacklisted? We've seen a number of women in particular recently, from Susan Sarandon or Melissa Barrera, face significant controversy for speaking out, but you do so anyway. Yeah,
I think what they know is what I know, which is that the cost of not speaking is higher. There is a greater toll in not speaking, and you just got to have your priorities straight. I am under no impression that my one small career could ever measure up in comparison to even one human life. So, it's an obligation, and I will always do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Actually, Melissa did tell us recently, Variety, that she really would hope to work with you someday. Has she been in touch?
Yes, I would love to work with her. I would love to work with her and, and Susan and, everyone.
Yeah, who is next on your list? I mean, we're
Oh
just
my
getting started.
God. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's, honestly, yeah, like them and Mark Ruffalo and Javier Bardem and all of them. I'm with Melissa. I'm like, let's all do something together. Road trip movie. Just kidding.
I mean, but why
This
not?
crazy gaggle of people are all in a car. This summer.
coming soon to theaters near you. But
AMC Burbank.
But this festival, while we focus on cinema, we also focus on the state of the industry. Another hot topic has really been that topic of AI. You guys tackled that in episode 6 of
Yes,
Hacks.
yeah.
What has it been like to kind of navigate, basically like what I'm doing right now, all of these questions about all of, I don't know, everything else going on in the world aside from your art?
I come at it from like a stand-up comedian place. Like I say what I think, So for me, I'm not really navigating anything. I feel like I am taking in information and forming thoughts, and they fly out of my mouth. I'm kind of like, maybe I should be a little more concerned, but I am like, yeah, I think it's pretty evident, what the technology has done and will continue to do. So I'm really proud of the way that we were presented in Hack's incredible episode directed by Jen Statsky. And, they've been really clear. I feel, again, it's just so lucky to work for people who are vocal, and it's like no coincidence that their art is as successful and good as it is and honest and political, Yeah. I think that they don't underestimate their audience, and they also don't patronize their audience. It's not like they're preaching. They are representing two sides of a conversation. They model productive discourse through Ava and Deborah. It's one of the amazing ways that the show can, frankly, bridge the gap between generations, is modeling these discussions and watching people change their opinion. I mean, it's like what they've done is really great. And so, yeah, I just feel totally thrilled to be a part of it. And yeah, I'm always just like, what would Ava do, Ava would be speaking up, so.
Ava would maybe do more than we need Hannah to do. But we appreciate it. What is your personal favorite Hacks moment or episode?
Oh God. Oh my God, I can't pick one. There's just like, I think every single one. I mean, I think that there's like nothing quite like that initial scene where Ava and Deborah meet. I've heard from some people that it's like used a lot in acting classes, which I think is so cool. Yeah, we've heard from a lot of actors that it's like become this like this scene that a lot of people choose to do, which is like such an honor and so awesome. Yeah, I think that scene is like a really beautiful sort of template for their dynamic, and it's I got, maybe I'll say that, but everything.
Sure. I mean, that's pretty remarkable. The idea that you come in, and you mean like in the pilot.
Yeah.
So one of your first days on a big TV series set for HBO now is something that somebody else coming up in the business is getting their feet wet doing.
Yeah.
I mean, what does it mean to kind of be already kind of like leaving a legacy for the actors that come up behind you?
It's just totally thrilling and moving to think that anything that I have done is making someone feel joy or benefiting them in any way. Like, that is truly the meaning of the work. Like, that is the purest, best benefit of being an actor, is connecting to other people and other actors. I think it's awesome.
and of course, an actor, but also a comic.
Yes.
When will we be heading back out on stage? Are you working out new material?
I actually just got back on stage for the first time in over like a year and a half. And mostly because I'm trying to like do fundraiser shows for local city council candidates in Los Angeles, and or like Democratic Socialists of America, and I'm just trying to I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm throwing the shows again. Sure. I was kind of like content to take time off. I think also because my special was like the cumulative product of like 7 years of my origin as a stand-up comedian. So I was like, okay, like this is a huge, this is like a birth. But yeah, I've been writing, and it's fun. It's my style,
Sure.
kind of minute, silly, kind of stupid, small stuff, and then like the largest possible thing you could discuss. So yeah.
I mean, what was it like to get back on stage after so long as you, not like, any of the characters that you've been embodying?
It was so cool. Mostly, again, it comes back to community, going to some of these spaces and running into comics who, I really just only see at shows, who for, the first several years of my artistic life, I saw every single day, every day of the week at various open mics or shows, local shows. That was so, that's just seeing these people who I love, who it just feels like no time has passed. That is the best part of it, and just talking shit and hanging backstage. But yeah, I mean, I love, I'm a showman. I love a crowd, and so it's a good feeling. And it's really fun. I think I perhaps am approaching it now from the most embodied place that I maybe have ever been, and that might truly be as a result of not only doing hacks for 6 years, but also Miasma. So
Sure.
It makes all my work better, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, every experience really does build on itself and builds confidence on itself and builds presence on itself. And, even as we were talking about this idea of, the state of the industry for women in cinema, it's also very similarly true for women in comedy. That's what you've been exploring in Hacks is, having these opportunities, being able to go to comedy clubs and own them, to have, a late night show, all of those things. Where do you kind of look at the state of affairs for women in that sector?
It's interesting. I think that it is because of the internet. I think stand-up has really, really changed. I think the open mic scene is different. I think that I've also seen a lot more people who already have a following, jumping over to start stand-up while having already built that, which is fascinating because it's they're starting that journey in real time with so many more eyes. So it's just a different experience than the one I had, where I just kind of really got to develop in anonymity. So yeah, it's a different time than when I came up, for sure. I think because of the internet.
Absolutely. And to that idea of looking to the future, I know you said you're looking more at, the idea of the art that you want to put into the world and the things that are inspiring you. What is inspiring those next stories as you start to look for the projects to come?
It really, for me, it depends on the person and the filmmaker, and, just what I, usually when I get something, it's coming to me fully formed. So for me, I'm kind of just taking on, reading scripts and connecting with filmmakers and feeling if that thing is there. But I'm always aiming to do stuff that feels vulnerable and true, but also really funny. I love the work of the stand-up comedian actors, Robin Williams and,
Sure.
and Jim Carrey, who will do Flubber and The Mask, and then Eternal Sunshine and Good Will Hunting. And so I think that that stuff is alluring to me.
I mean, that's kind of the brilliance of Camp Miasma in particular, is that you are kind of asked to definitely get real funny, but also, like we said, it is very deep and, you know, dark and vulnerable. So you kind of got a chance to do both in one movie.
Yeah, I love it. That's like my bread and butter, you know, like, and I feel like Hacks also like really allows me to do all of that. I think it's representative of, you know, that fusion is representative of life. It is all those things, you know, and so I like doing both at the same time.
Yeah. What do you kind of look at as your kind of like guiding light, your kind of, maybe not even like personal motto, might not be quite that specific, but yeah, what do you, as you go out into the world again today, I guess, go back into the Cannes Film Festival, go back out on the Croisette, what is that guiding light you have?
I think a general thing that I approach life with is that like everything around us is totally constructed, and not to like a stop sign, for instance.
Yeah.
Green means go. Does it? Why? You know, so that kind of frees me, just to be like, rules are fake, nothing is real, free your mind. You know?
I'm actually not gonna lie, I feel like that's a perfect place.
It's like
that is the type of, you know, actual like real world wisdom that is true for how you can be so free in your performing, though. You know, that's what allows this brilliance to come forth.
Well, thank you.
Well, Hannah, thank you so much for spending some time with us. And thank you all so much for spending some time. Please make sure to come back for more of the Kering Women in Motion programming. This is just the beginning of this year's celebration. But again, please give another round of applause for Hannah Einbinder.